Welcome to Didactics with David Lopez. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about CBD and early 2020. I'm actually shooting this in the first week of February, so if you're watching this way past February 2020, please check my channel to see if there have been any further updates. I've done several videos on the CBD situation when it comes to credit card processing. And just for a quick review of who I am, and just in case it's the first time you've seen any of my videos, I set up businesses to accept credit cards in the credit card processing industry, specifically for online businesses, and I specialize in what's considered to be high-risk business models for online sales that are heavily regulated by Visa and MasterCard, the FTC, the FDA, etc., etc. I have worked with the CBD industry since 2013 off and on, based off of the different types of regulations, laws, government pressure, FDA pressure, and Visa, MasterCard opinions and regulations. I want to kind of give a quick update. I have talked about a little bit about the cannabis industry and the future of credit card processing as it stands at the time, and I've made some updates on the CBD industry and the credit card processing. And I've had videos come out saying that it was available, and then it wasn't available, and then it was available, etc. So in, again, February 2020, this is kind of where we stand. First of all, I kind of want to go over a couple of things that are a bit of bad news for not only the CBD industry but also for the cannabis industry. Apparently there's a class action lawsuit being filed by several lawyers, I believe, or law firms against large CBD companies like Charlotte's Web and CV Sciences. Now, full disclosure, CV Sciences was my client back in 2013. I managed their credit card processing account through my company for at least 2 years, and also Canavest, which was a separate publicly traded CBD company. They were both two of the largest publicly traded CBD companies in the US at the time, and I believe CV Sciences actually bought Canavest, which obviously they're the makers of CBD Plus. So that being said, they are being sued for marketing and labeling their products as dietary supplements. And that is something that I find to be very, very shady, for lack of a better term, because these lawyers now, they understand how the FDA has already ruled as far as their opinion goes currently in 2020 and as of 2019. They basically said that they do not allow companies to sell and market CBD products as dietary supplements and for human consumption. Now, they don't have a problem with topical products, which is why you see a lot of very large retail stores carry topical CBD products, but you still don't see them carrying dietary supplements. For the most part, to buy dietary supplements or consumable CBD products, edible products, etc., you'd have to go to either a cannabis dispensary store or you have to buy it online. Because of the fact that the FDA has said that they do not allow CBD products to be marketed as dietary supplements, these lawyers and law firms now are submitting a class action lawsuit to basically take money from these companies, which is, again, very, very shady and just scum-like behavior in my opinion. So that is something just to be aware of. If you are looking to start a CBD business or you are in the CBD industry, definitely pay attention and take note of what's going on with that, because that could ultimately affect the whole industry depending on how these court rulings rule. That being said, another bad news for the CBD and cannabis industry, Eaze is apparently losing a ton of money. Now, Eaze is a delivery app that I know is active in California, the state that I'm from. I'm not quite sure if they're active in other states, but they do deliver cannabis products to people, much like a Grubhub or a Postmates. You basically order from a local legal cannabis business and they deliver to your door. Problem with them, though, and I've covered this in other videos, please take a look at those as well, is that they are allowing people to buy these products with credit cards, that they are accepting credit card payments through their app. Visa and MasterCard have made it very, very clear that they do not allow the sale or purchase of cannabis products with their credit card processing network, because the Federal Reserve regulates on a federal level all banking services, and they are regulated by the federal government. And as far as the federal government's concerned, cannabis is a Schedule I drug, so you might as well be selling cocaine and accepting credit cards. That's part of what I believe is causing their financial problems. I do know from what it sounds like they're now switching over from being a delivery service, and they're looking more to focus on creating their own branded cannabis products. So we'll see how things go for them. It's not looking very good, and I believe that any cannabis delivery any company and app that's out there, any kind of startup trying to get into that space, is going to be struggling until either the Senate passes the Safe Banking Act, will basically make it federally legal for banks to work with legal cannabis businesses in their respective states. And that means the federal government can't come after banks for processing credit card transactions or hosting bank accounts for legal cannabis businesses and go after them for money laundering charges, much like they would go after any other bank that would do business with a drug dealer. Once that happens, or marijuana or cannabis finally gets taken off the Schedule I drug list and becomes federally legal for recreational use, much like they've done in Canada, we're going to see this hurdle be a huge problem for any sort of startup in that space. But now on to some good news. There actually is a new bill that got pushed through the House, Congress. House Representative Peterson from Minnesota introduced H.R.5587. This bill will amend the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, which has been in existence since 1938. This massive 800-page act has been amended dozens of times during its existence to include newer product types that were introduced to the market, allowing them to join an already established regulatory framework and quickening their market acceptance. And theoretically, this makes the products in question safer for consumers. HR 558 has a long way to go. The resolution hasn't even gotten to its first committee, but just the fact that this has been introduced and has a bipartisan co-sponsorships is pretty good sign that there is a will in Congress to do something on this issue. From my understanding, this 1938 bill allowed things that were already in circulation, as far as in the food circulation, to be added to the FDA regulatory framework for supplements. So I want to make an example like ginseng. But ginseng became very popular in the late 90s and early 2000s in the US. It was already very popular in places like Korea, Japan, and China. Ginseng was touted as supporting energy and libido and many other things, and it's been used in Asian medicine for thousands of years, from my understanding. Since it was already a food and it was already a natural product, it was basically allowed to be sold and marketed as a dietary supplement. I believe the FDA or whatever body or organization did at least do some initial studies to make sure it was safe for human consumption, and then it would fall under any other dietary supplement. You can market it and say things like supports or has been shown, if there are studies that can prove that this bill allowed things like ginseng and any other herbal supplement that was introduced into the market to be regulated as such. CBD technically should be in this exact same category. Problem is, it has been linked to hemp, which only became fully legal in the US with the Farm Bill that was passed in late 2018. And it technically made hemp CBD products legal, but the FDA then stepped in and said, hey, wait a minute, we are not comfortable yet with it being marketed and sold as a dietary supplement. Well, that's because there's a patented CBD cannabidiol drug that was funded and marketed by a pharmaceutical company, and so this kind of is put the FDA in a weird situation where, you know, they kind of lumped in CBD with Schedule I cannabis. That was what the DEA initially had put it in, and once the Farm Bill passed, that took it out of the Schedule I listing of cannabis. But we'll see where this goes. I mean, this bill obviously is in its infancy. You know, hopefully it can pass the House and get to Senate. Now with a Republican majority Senate, we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's very difficult. Obviously, the more conservative branch of the government is always very hesitant to be anything pro cannabis because of the long history of it being tied to drug addiction, gateway drug, yada, yada, yada. So we'll see. My name is David Lopez. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep up to date with credit card processing and how it's regulating the CBD industry for online sales and how it might affect your business, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. I do many videos revolving around business online. Definitely check out my other videos if this is something that interests you. I kind of cover online businesses from the perspective of credit card processing, which I think is very unique to YouTube. There's hundreds and hundreds of channels out there that teach you how to start and run an online business, but I specifically am out here trying to warn people and give advice to prevent you from running into any problems that might come up when it comes to accepting credit cards online for your business type, and also to give you my own spin on business advice based off of the hundreds and hundreds of online merchants I've worked with since 2012. So definitely, again, subscribe, like, comment, share, and I really appreciate you watching. Until next time, this is David Lopez, and this is Didactics with David Lopez.